Yo, what's up, guys? It's Marvin. It's currently 4:09, and I'm here to talk about advice. So to me, advice suck. Advice advice really sucks, man, because it changes trajectory of life. If you know what I mean, right? So advice, it's already a predetermined journey in life, a predetermined route in life, a path. You hear advice from people, and they give advice because they've been down that path of life, right? So advice doesn't really matter because if you take other people's advice, you're going down that path of life, which is already predetermined, and you know what's gonna happen, right? But if you take a path where that doesn't have advice, it's always something new, right? New ideas and stuff like that. Advice shouldn't be taken if it's with ideas or creativity or writing and stuff like that. Advice should be taken when it's by the book. So like, don't do anything illegal, don't steal anything with morals, right? That should already be instilled in humans. It already be taught while growing up. So I believe most people are good people. That's what I believe. So those shouldn't be advice. Those should be something instilled in you already, right? But other than that, advice is pretty useless because it's already a predetermined path. You wanna take a path where someone never did that stuff before, right? So hasn't been advised about those stuff. You wanna come up with new advice, but you can't tell anybody else the advice because they have experienced life themselves. So advice shouldn't be taken straight to yourself. Advice should be something you hear and like, oh, maybe that's a good idea, but what if I did this? You know what I mean? So advice should never be taken into your life because your life is your life. You make your own decisions and you create your own path in life. You know what I mean? Advice is good sometimes, I would say. Maybe if you're really stuck in a place and you when you really need advice, I guess I feel like if you really need advice, you need to create your own path in life. You know what I mean? You can't depend on advice. Advice is just a bunch of words. Advice don't give you money. Advice is something you hear and it sounds good, but you still gotta put in the work. You know what I mean? But then again, like I said, advice by the book is always good and should be taught when you're growing up, so you don't have to hear that advice again when you're an adult. If you hear those advice when you're an adult, it kind of means you messed up, and they're putting your life back to how they live, other than you making your own path in life. But it's another topic of advice. I'm talking about advice that you should take now, right? Like, it's nothing wrong with receiving advice, right? People see you stuck. Maybe they want to help you out. Nothing wrong. But then again, the advice they're giving you is experience from their life and what they already predetermined in their path. You want to create your predetermined path and live your life and come up with your advice. You come up with your advice, but you gotta be smart enough to let people live their own life other than giving them advice. You know what I mean? It's 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 pretty redundant, if I'm using the word right, to give advice. It's like a loop, right? Someone gives advice, they go down that path, and then they give advice of the same advice. It's pretty. You gotta come up with your own path in life. You know what I mean? The aim of life is to come up with advice, but ultimately not instilling them into other people's life. You want to let people be creative. You want to let people. You want to let people figure out. That's the experience of life. Letting people figure out where they want to go. in this game, right? In this game of life, you gotta figure that out and come up with your predetermined future. But then again, future's never promised. So the possibility is endless. You could do anything you want. Advice is good in technical terms, but at the end of the day, if you don't make your own decisions, it's on you. Can't blame nobody who doesn't give you advice, or you can't blame nobody who gives you advice. Advice is really, 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 really useless in my opinion when it comes to like stuff like this, not by the book, right? Then again, you can't blame nobody for not giving you advice or giving you advice, because that's their life, right? That's the path they formulated and they walked on. So if it doesn't work out, it most likely would never work out for you, because they have conditions they met. Maybe there's conditions that you haven't meet, that you have to meet to follow that part of advice. So advice is really, it's really, it goes, if it goes to the extreme, it sucks. But by the book, technical advice, don't do nothing illegal, stuff like that, always works out. Because it's probably shown that if you don't do this, you won't go to jail, blah blah blah, which is good. So it's good advice, real good advice, right? Don't gamble, don't spend your money on dumb stuff. Like, even then, like, it's your life, right? You gotta do whatever you want. So spending money might be happy to you, might be a good thing to you, might keep you happy, but might not for the other person. So it's all about conditions they meet, right? It could be the other way around. They give advice because something they don't have, and you receive advice with something you have. So it's two different conditions. It could be other way around, vice versa, and stuff like that. So advice is really complex on the higher level. If two conditions are not met on in two different lives, right? Maybe conditions good if both conditions are met. But still, then again, both of you guys are two different humans, two different mindsets. Not everybody thinks the same. Two different perspectives in lives, right? So like, advice at the end of the day, it's pretty like, I wouldn't say advice is good at this extent, not the textbook extent, but to the extreme extent. Advice on creativity, design, money, politics, religion. At the end of the day, the coffin's waiting for you, man. You know what I mean? And is little advice gonna stop you from doing what truly you want to do? Because that coffin is waiting on you. And time on this earth is it's pretty short. You know what I mean? By really short, I mean you never know. So don't let advice stop you from doing what you truly want to do. Even if it's from your parents, if it's from your siblings, or anybody close around you, advice is a waste of time, right? Just make sure you do what you want to do and you have no regrets. No regrets over no advice. No regrets on stuff you wish you have done. Alright? Life is way too short, man. You gotta do it. If you don't, you're gonna regret. And the most painful thing on this earth is regret. There's no other pain on this earth other than regret. And especially regret over some advice. That's the worst. That's the most bitter stuff I could ever feel. So remember this. Before taking any advice, think about conditions, right? Think about perspectives, conditions, the path, what I have and what the other person doesn't have, or vice versa, right? And then really take that advice to consideration before actually maybe trying to implement it into your life. But then again, even if all everything matches up, it still shouldn't be taken into your life, because you gotta make your own decisions and and create that trajectory of life. You know what I mean? That new trajectory that might lead you to failure, or you might lead you to success. But the point is, it's a new trajectory. Whether be it positive outcome or negative outcome, it's still a new trajectory, and it's still new advice. You know what I mean? It's like it's a path where you can come up with that advice, but you can't instill it in anybody else. That's advice you come up with. Maybe it's for yourself because it fits your conditions. So advice should be created and used by yourself, because you are in that time, and you are with those conditions, right? It's the perfect those that advice is formulated perfectly just for you at that time. That's crazy, right? It was formulated perfectly at that time of day, at your age, at your decision making, for you to use. It's not for nobody else to use. It's perfect for you because all the conditions are met, right? So advice shouldn't be given, but it should be used by yourself and come up with from your trajectory of life. And that's how I feel about advice. Thank you.